We're ready to start, Mr. Pena? Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of West Miami Planning and Zoning Board meeting of January 25th, 2022. Members present are Eugenio Gonzalez,
Yes.
Diana Rio,
Yes.
Alvaro Lorido, myself, Joe Paz. Also present is Juan Pena, Planning and Zoning Director, and Jose Villalobos, our City Attorney. It is 7:32 p.m. for the record. Mr. Pena?
All who will testify, will you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Miss Milian couldn't be with us tonight. She just had the baby, so she's at home.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations.
And Mr. Gonzalez, Gilbert Gonzalez, was on his way. I don't know if he'll make it, but he's trying.
Okay, thank you.
First item on your agenda is your approval of the minutes from the 10/26/2021 meeting.
Okay. Any comments
Yeah.
from the members?
I make a motion to approve it.
I second the motion.
Okay, there was a motion and a second. On the motion, Eugenio Gonzalez,
Yes.
Diana Rio,
Yes.
Alvaro Lorido, and I vote yes.
Okay. Under old business, we're gonna skip the agenda item number 2 and go to new business to hear the variance hearings, if that's okay with you.
Sure.
First, you have variance hearing agenda item number 1. Property address is 1361 58th Avenue. Maria de Lourdes Diegues Soto, Ricardo Perez. Applicants requesting a variance to build an addition to the existing house for his and hers office, multi-purpose room, study, and a bathroom within 7.5 feet of the rear property line, where 15 feet is required by zoning ordinance 282 to the rear property line. The property is normal shaped lot, and the applicants are requesting smaller than normal setback. Are you, please, name and address for the record.
Mr. Chairman, board members, Ricardo Perez,
Good afternoon.
homeowner 1361 Southwest 58th Avenue, West Miami, 33144. So yeah, as you state correctly, we're trying to achieve a working office environment in our house. This COVID has put us in a position where our everyday office was closed. So now we're trying to deal with kids, one coming up, and finding a little bit more space in our property to create a working office environment. And that's why we're here today.
Okay.
Is any explanation that I should do from the plans that you guys are seeing, or
Yeah, we have them here.
all right?
And Mr. Pena, the only variance is pertaining to the setback encroachment, right?
That's correct. Our recommendation was to reduce it to 10 feet, keeping the 7.5, keeping the 15 at 10 feet instead, which only reduces the addition by 2.5 feet east and west, and really doesn't take a lot away from the rooms, rather than bring it so close to the rear property line, where the other properties in the neighborhood will be affected.
Yeah, I think that's the way I was leaning towards as well. What do the board members, anybody have a comment on that?
As far as the addition, we've never allowed anything so close to a property line.
And 7.5 feet is pretty close,
Mm,
but
correct. So now, we're looking at a setback of 9.5,
10 feet.
10 feet.
10 feet. So that's three,
That's
correct,
two,
2.5,
2.5 feet from what you're asking for,
2.5.
which is 1/3 of the required setback.
Yeah, because as a corner lot, the condition, we get the 25 as the main
Right.
condition, then we have the 15. So the 7.5 would be applicable to a conventional lot, right? Because it's a corner, then you don't get that
It would
15.
also be applicable to a corner lot, and 15 is what's required, but.
No, we understand.
But the city staff recommended 10, and we have not issued in the past variances for additions so close to the property line. Your rearmost neighbor may not have a problem with it now, but maybe they sell, and a new neighbor may not really like that, being so close to the property line. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm a little torn about this application. While I understand working from home, I myself work from home with my husband as well, and two teenagers. I don't know what's worse, babies or teenagers. But they'll give you a run for your money. I really don't see much of a hardship for creating such large offices. If you were to keep the 15-foot setback variance as required by code, the one that is currently called his office would basically be cut in half. At the same time, this, and I'm not saying you, I'm saying in general, this leads to a sort of like a separate apartment or efficiency type of thing, which may not be what your intention is at creating this addition, but it does look like it's something that could potentially be created by just closing the one interior door, and then that just separates the two homes, if you will, which is not permitted in this district. So this multipurpose room could be a little bit smaller. The two offices could be a little bit smaller. The study room also will become smaller. You keep the bathroom, and that would be okay. Even if they were to be turned into bedrooms in the future, they would still be a good size. I just don't see the need for such large space and encroaching into the 15-foot required setback. What's turning me away from that is that right now you're showing a back door, which could potentially be an entrance door if this were to become a separate apartment. So if we deny the variance, then we have no control on the recommendations as prepared by staff and on the recommendation of removing that door to the exterior on that side. So to me, if it's made smaller to comply with the code, then, you know, you go by the plans, and that's that. We have no control over whether you put an exterior door back there or not, because essentially the variance would be denied. But if we do approve it, I just don't see the hardship where it is that you cannot use this property as the intended purpose by creating a smaller addition that complies with the code.
Okay, thank you for that, for your comments. Anybody else have a comment? Is this a public hearing, Mr.
Yes.
Pena? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up the public hearing at this time. If anybody from the public wishes to speak on this item, please approach the podium. It is 7:41. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and now close the public hearing since nobody has approached the podium. It is 7:42 p.m. I agree with you, Ms. Rio, but I think a 10-foot setback really obviously will help the applicants out in getting a little bit more usable space. As far as conversion to an efficiency, it would be easy, but again, most houses here are set up in a way that they can rather easily be done, that made into an efficiency if the owner chooses. That's where Mr. Pena and his code enforcement team come into play. But I think city staff recommendation of 10 feet is, I agree with that, but you have your opinion. Does anybody else from the board have any comments, suggestions?
Yeah, if I may add, just on the west side, there's also a larger amount of space. And again, I don't know the configuration of the interior of the home as it exists right now. So you can essentially fill this entire area over here without requiring any variances.
And that looks like a patio, right? Like a covered or
Right now,
Open.
is this area back here. All
right.
this would meet all the setbacks. And you could potentially take some of these rooms and move them over here. Again, not knowing what the interior looks like, I don't know if that's something that's feasible or not, but it's an opportunity.
Yeah, adding
Yeah.
a little bit to that, and also the structural engineer, right? So the intent here that I'm trying to prove my practice and my expertise, coming in extension towards would it be the east, which is was indicating as existing concrete slab and grade. Yeah, but it's also very limited. It will create a lot of construction issues. Like I need to break out a lot of low-bearing walls and those. Plus, and that's existing kitchens, existing living room, which we're not pretending to
Right.
make any scope in the existing of the house. We pretend
Understood.
to adding a new office and a space so we can put the kids and
Okay.
Entonces, ¿tú quieres limpio?
Ujú.
¿Sabes que no van a limpio?
¿Eh?
No era un reason. Yes, maybe.
So essentially, you want to have your home business in here.
no,
No.
no. I work for a
you want
8 to 5,
Oh,
8
okay.
morning
Okay.
to 5
Oh,
p.m.
yeah.
company. It's called the Simon Consulting Engineers, and she works for another 8 to 5. Currently, those employers mandate that we should work from home, as many of us, right? Normal. We're just encountering a lot of issues, so we are deciding to create a very workable space where we can focus and be more productive. It's hard. It's home. We're just trying to live in this new environment, and that's why we're here today.
Okay, Mr. Pena, this was advertised and the adjacent homeowners were notified as well?
500 radius feet.
Okay, thank you.
Again, as Ms.
May I,
Rio,
Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
go ahead.
We're assuming that the pandemic is going to last forever? I mean, are we all going to be working from our home forever? I mean,
We hope not.
to change what we see here because of the pandemic, to create an office, I don't think it's necessary. I taught a whole year from my office, which is smaller than this over here, and I survived. But I mean, why do we need an office? That's the question I'm asking.
Uh-huh. Well, I understand your concern. I really need an office where I can, I think this, it depends, I don't know what is your profession. I deploy a lot of plans. I deploy space that I need to be in construction administration business. And I'm just trying to achieve that space. If may I use it, right?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
usually I don't get involved in this. Had nothing to do with it, but putting that into context, all Mr. Pena is requiring is for each office to be smaller by 1 1/4 foot. So I don't think that that's unreasonable. This is a self-imposed hardship in any event. But as I say, Mr. Pena is suggesting instead of 10 feet.
No, 10 feet instead of
it's-
7.5.
Instead of 7.5, 10 feet, so you're talking about 1.5 foot in each office.
Correct. I don't think the applicant is against that correction.
No, we'll take 10 feet. I mean, if that's the, but 10 feet will also trigger a hearing, right?
Correct.
Because 15 is
Is the
the
setback.
allowable setback.
Right, 15 is what is required, if
We request 7.5,
correct.
and we can take the recommendation of 10.
Okay, that's if the members here vote to allow
Correct,
that.
correct.
So that's what we're still trying to determine, and if it were to be allowed at 10 feet, it would be today where when the decision will be made. But I don't think it's looking favorable.
Well,
I do agree that it is putting the addition a little close at 7.5, 10, being that apparently no members, or none of your neighbors came to speak on this item. They should have been aware or made aware of it. Personally, I would not have a problem with the 10 feet, but I'm just one vote here. I'm waiting to hear somebody from the board to make a motion one way or the other. Definitely 7.5. We're not going to address that or go there. It's either 10 or the required actual 15, depending on how the board votes. So that being said, does somebody want to make a motion one way or the other?
Again, going to Ms. Rio and Mr. Laurito's comments, the request was at 7.5. Our recommendation is at 10 because we have given that in the past. And not to whether the gentleman needs a bigger office or a smaller office, it doesn't really, it's not to the point. It's past practice. And if we've done it in the past towards another, it would be unpredictable for us to deny one at 10 when he's agreeing to 10.
And I agree with you, Mr. Pena.
Based on that we have set a precedent before, I make a motion that we accept the recommendation of the staff.
At
Because
10
we-
feet.
10 feet.
I second
Okay.
the motion.
All right, there was a motion and a second. On the motion, Eugenio Gonzalez,
Yes?
Gilberto Gonzalez.
Yes.
Diana Rio,
No.
Alvaro Laredo.
Yes.
And I vote yes. So it has been approved, sir, at 10 feet.
All righty.
You don't want to put a condition on that?
Oh, he did. No, he said, based on the staff recommendations.
What about the back door?
The door, so he's going to need access in and out of there to the backyard, although it is rather small. Mr. Pena, you don't have any recommendation regarding the door?
There is
in
no
the-
limits on how many doors you could put on your house. You could put a door on every bedroom and it'd be up to code, as long as it's a impact.
Yeah. Okay,
This
well,
is true, but not when they're coming for a variance. We could put limitations on, just like you put conditions on every,
Correct, but at that point, we would have to tread lightly because you have lights and safety issues that the fire department may require the door there because of the windows that are in each room as an alternative escape. So, I mean, we could put it, and if it goes through the fire review, that's fine, or if they require it, then he'll have to put it back in.
Okay.
I think you already voted on
All right, well, we already voted on it, so I think it's,
Well, it's up to you if you want to put a friendly amendment to the motion.
well, that would be up to the motion
Maker.
maker.
Well, to anybody in the prevailing side.
Right.
Okay. You're okay with the door? Or
Yeah,
everyone?
I'm good. I don't have any problem with the door.
I don't either.
So the
Okay.
motion stands.
The motion stands and with,
Thank you. Good night.
as submitted. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Perez, you'll have to submit an additional set of plans showing the 10 feet. Next item on your variance hearing agenda is Jose Alberto de la Casas. Applicant is requesting to build a swimming pool in the rear yard of his property within 7 feet of the property line where 10 feet is required for a swimming pool, and within 5 feet of the side property line where 10 is required. Applicant would also like to a variance for the installation of a 6-foot decorative metal fence in the front setback of the property where 5 foot is allowed.
Hello.
Okay.
How are you?
Hello, welcome.
My name,
Name
is
and
Jose.
address for the record.
My name is Jose de las Casas, 6487 Southwest 11th Street, West Miami, Florida.
Again, he has provided a survey indicating where the pool would go. It's a standard sized pool, 15 by 30. We have reviewed it and we have submitted recommendation. We have no objection to the 5 feet and the 7 feet, again, because we have given it in past instances for other pools. The 6-foot fence, we do have an objection to that. And I think in the long run, there is an ordinance for, an amendment to the fence ordinance allowing higher hedges in that setback area, so there will be an alternative method of shielding the property if that's the intent.
If I might say one thing, the only reason
Yes,
why
sir.
I felt that it was fair, I live in a corner lot, and the home that was, well, when I purchased, that was already built, they have the same, 6 foot right next to my property. There's something something was interesting when I bought the home. My both corner lots, like his home, the front is considered facing the street. My home, I guess, was converted, so my front door is facing the avenue. So that changes my backyard in a sense. So he actually, my neighbor has the 6 foot facing the avenue, which is right next to my property. So what I'm trying to do is actually do essentially the same thing. There was a mistake on that paper, which I don't know if it matters. I'm actually getting concrete, and that was already approved at 5 feet.
Yeah,
It's not
like-
metal. It's not metal. It's gonna be, I don't know. if that-
Whether
block
it's,
wall.
yeah, whether it's CVS or decorative, they're at the same height.
It's precast.
Correct, they're at the
but-
same
but
height.
I'm saying that because my neighbor has the 6 feet of cement. I'm trying to mimic that same thing on my property. And
Correct,
doing
but
exactly
the-
the same thing that they're doing.
The only difference that your neighbor, you're speaking about your neighbor to the north.
I'm speaking to my north.
Okay.
right, the other corner. lot.
That is a very old wall that was allowed prior to the changes that we did in 2003.
Gotcha. I understand. I mean, that's the only reason why I
Yeah.
thought that it would be something. I don't know the rules. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm very ignorant and new to this.
But like Mr. Pena said, that there's legislation now waiting for the city commission to discuss it and possibly approve it, where you can get your fence at 5 foot or,
Six,
at
6
5.
instead of 5.
and then plant some landscaping to achieve the 6 feet. So you'll have some better
So-
privacy that way.
So there is, because I see all over around my home hedges that are like 10 feet on corner
They're
lot.
not, they're not legal
Oh,
somehow.
okay.
they
So
got-
hedges also have a?
Yes,
Oh, I didn't know.
yes.
Okay.
Currently, they're supposed to be 4 feet and 6. Those that you see at 8 and 10 feet right now are on the chopping block for violation notices,
Okay.
if this doesn't go through
And does that apply everywhere in my, like in the
in
house?
West Miami.
In West
No,
Miami.
in terms of within the home, is it just outside? Because I actually, when I bought the home, have hedges that are like pretty high. Anywhere around the home, it's gonna be a,
The hedges behind the house could be up to 6 feet. Anything in that front line of the front walls of the house is supposed to be 4.
okay. Well, I don't know. I just was trying to mimic my neighbor.
Okay, I'm assuming this is also a public hearing.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm going to open up the hearing to the meeting to the public. If anybody from the public wishes to discuss this item, please approach the podium. Go ahead, sir. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Octavio Machado. Octavio Machado. I'm his neighbor, and I live on 6477 Southwest 11th Street, right next to the property of the applicant that's asking for the variance. I did not know what Mr. Juan Pena just said, that usually these variances are granted for 5 feet. That seems pretty close to my property, to have a pool, especially it's gonna be in front of my bedroom. And then I don't know what's gonna happen to that 5 feet of space between the properties. Are they gonna build, are they gonna cement all over that? What's gonna happen?
No.
Is that gonna be a grassy area?
If approved, it would have to remain a grassy area. No pool deck back there, no concrete, nothing. Just grass or mulch or artificial turf, something
That's gonna
like
be
that.
next to the edge of the water, the edge of the pool? Because or is that the size of the pool is, what is it, 10 by?
15 by 30.
15 by 30, that's including the walkway around the pool?
No, sir.
No.
No, that is the actual pool. The pool deck, though, the area to walk around will not be allowed back in the 5-foot setback if it's approved to allow it to be 5 feet. It'll just be the coping, the edge of the pool, which is normally like a foot, maybe 2 at the most.
Correct.
And that's it. No walking surface
Well,
back there.
Okay, that's also something that was not clear, and in the plans, I came and picked up the available plans that they gave me at Mr. Pena's office, but there was never any of that information. I also have some issues about the noise that pool is going to create in front of my bedroom, and I thought that we were going to have to build some kind of solid, like the home that he's talking about across the back of the north side, but apparently not. So all these pool activities are going to be happening 5 feet away from my home, my property line, and be in front of my bedroom. And I don't see, I actually am perplexed that this was allowed before. I guess it's, I don't keep track of those things, and that's why you guys, experts, and they do this. But 5 feet away, that's 7 on my side, that's 12 feet. I mean, somebody belly jumping on the pool is gonna splash all the way through to my window. I mean, that's pretty close. And I wish my neighbor had contacted me. We could have talked about this, but he never did. So here I am. And I even though if it's granted, I'm still gonna disapprove of granting this variance. I'm not gonna like it. That's put it that way. So even if it's granted, but I also see another issues. I like fruit trees, and I have one that's he's gonna build the pool right under my avocado tree, and I have problems with the pool in the back of the north side. The previous owners, they used to complain about falling leaves and dirt or whatever, branches flying off and during a storm, and they used to complain about that, and I used to tell them I can't do nothing about it. Now, he's building his pool under my avocado tree, right next to it. And I'm also worried about spillage of contaminated water that's being treated in his pool. It's gonna be contaminating the fruits on my side of the fence. I don't know that that's any bearings on the decisions, but I just wanna make sure that in the future, that he's not gonna find himself annoyed because leaves from my trees are gonna be flying off to his pool, and they stain your pool. So because I know because of the other owner that lives they used to live in the back, and she used to complain a lot to my father about this, and she never wanted to build covering over the pool. And so I'm just bringing up these issues to the board and to him. He's my neighbor, and I respect his property. And you know, if the board complies with his request, then so be it. But I find 5 feet too close to my property line. I'm also worried about erosion due to the construction. That section in my house, the 7 feet setback, is already tilting towards his property, and some of the tiles are cracking up because it's eroding already. That's all sand. There's no ground there. The ground is mostly just sand. And when I start digging a big hole right next to my property, that's going to create problems for the walkway in the back of my house, on the side of my house,
Okay.
which are already beginning to emerge with the years.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay?
Let me see.
And so, have any questions? All right. That's it for me?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Machado. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Sure.
So first of all, I'm sorry, I don't have a good relationship with him. I didn't know I had to advise him. This is my first time doing this.
Address the board, though.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm sorry, just to apologize if I didn't do anything the proper way. I have no idea about this. The first time I'm doing this, first time homeowner. In terms of the tree, what he's saying about the leaves, there is a situation. You could have a tree, but if something's falling, to my understanding, I'm allowed to cut anything that's covered my property, right? Which I had discussed with him in terms.
Yes, you
for
are,
other
as long
issues.
as it doesn't
Like-
lead to the
Like nothing to
death of the tree itself.
Of course, no. I think that would be like 5% of the tree, but it's something that's on top. I don't think that's something to bring up in the situation when it comes to your leaves affecting my property. I mean, like you have a lot of avocados, and I've never had an issue. But of course, if I had a pool, I would get somebody to trim something and have a
Or don't trim it, just scoop up any leaves and you have avocados.
Well, but if I have a pool, I don't want avocados falling on my head. That's kind of like a. I thought.
But you have the right to do that from your
Right,
property line up.
and I had talked to him before. I asked him for something else. He said, "Yeah, no problem. Just cut it on top of your fence." In terms of the pool situation about noise, I've been in that house. I have a 6-year-old, and I've never had an issue complaining about sound at all. I'm not loud. I go to sleep at 10 o'clock. And there is my neighbor, the one that I'm trying to mimic, the other corner lot. Like I'm talking about this here, right? 5 feet from the. I'm talking. This is 5 feet, more or less, right? Can we agree? No, more. This 5 feet. Right, 5 feet. Okay. So basically, 5 feet. I have 10 feet. The pool, my neighbor, and they always having parties. I mean, I don't have a problem with anything. I really don't care. But my noise is 10 to say 15 feet from that other pool, and they have parties all the time. So how is it that my situation is something different that affects them? I would say right now, if my reasoning for me building on that side, because I had another idea before that would not mess too much with the variance. But the problem with it is how the sun faces, and literally the house, since it was changed from one side to the other, the front, it just doesn't work for me. Like the other section, it was too close to the wall, so that's why I was asking to get that variance. And again, I apologize if I didn't do anything correctly. I like the man. I didn't know that I had to do that, and I feel there's some bitterness with that. Sorry. But again, if it's word, I mean, and then it's talking about splashing, I just don't know how to answer that. I don't know how, in the sense of I mean, I can understand that he's worried about noise, but I have not demonstrated that. And I know that applies to the situation when I'm asking for a pool. At the end, I could just move it. The situation would be like, it would be too small, but I don't think there's a illegality of building a pool, and that the 5 feet situation is just because of my house setup, is to be able to have that width. And again, that is actually wrong too. I'm not doing 15 feet because 15 feet will touch my stairs coming up from the back door. It's actually 12 by 30. So the reason why I'm asking that is because the 12, a pool like less than 12 feet width, it's just too small. So I went to the 12 just so I'll be able to walk down my stairs, how the house is set up, and have 3-4 feet to the pool. Now, another question that I want to ask, he was talking about, which I'm sorry if I don't understand. My understanding is they built a pool and it's like a foot and a half of, I don't know how you call the thing around the pool.
The coping.
My understanding was that I was asking for the 5 feet to be able to fit at 12, 5 feet from the edge of the pool, not that part. So I don't know if you're saying that if I'm requesting that I have to be the foot and a half of the edging plus 5 feet.
No, normally it goes to the water's edge.
That's what. That's what I had said. The water
But the
was.
coping, generally they're like a foot wide or something like
But
that.
that would be within the 5 feet.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
What you won't be allowed is to do any kind of further concrete work, pavers.
No, my
and
idea was,
create a pool
my-
deck back there.
My idea was to have hedges, whatever the most common ones, the crucius, that I already have like a nice wall, and I was just gonna keep the wall and create like more of a separation between the two houses once I built the pool.
You said a wall, there's a block wall dividing your property?
No,
and
sorry.
Mr. Machado's?
I misspoke. My home is right now being separated by a fence, a wood fence.
Okay.
On this side, I have already a wall of hedges. So my idea was build a pool in this corner and just keep building the hedge. So that was, if it was worried about cement, I was planning on keeping.
Bringing the hedge around.
Continuing the
Right,
hedge
continue the
along.
whole thing and then build like a nice cozy.
Okay. Mr. Pena, on the recommendations that you provided us, it says that the proposed pool is 7 feet from the rear property line. Is that a typo?
No, that's correct. That's what it's shown at.
It's shown there.
Okay, that's got me a little.
If you look at the diagram on the north end of the pool,
Okay, I see it. Okay. Okay, I was looking at the other side. And then there is a existing concrete slab of some sort that will obviously have to be removed.
demolished, yeah.
For
Where's
the
the,
pool.
Sorry.
pool equipment,
Sorry?
the pump and?
Where
the-
will that go? Actually,
Yeah.
that will go closer to my side where I have solar panels. So basically where I have, the AC too is also there. So if you see the graph when you come out of the back door, there's like a little L.
Yeah, and the survey shows where the AC unit's at. That's
That will
probably,
where everything go. That's where I have all the panels for which I have 4 panels for the solar panels, the electrical panels, and that's where like
That's where the pool
everything will be
filter,
there, right.
everything's gonna go
It's
there.
on that side. Yeah.
Okay, good.
your question regarding the slab?
No.
No, no,
Oh, okay.
it's gonna be demolished.
Correct. It's under the pool.
Right, it'll be in the pool. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and close the public hearing. It is 8:10 PM. Any comments, questions, concerns from the board?
I have a question on the fence.
Yeah.
Actually for staff. Didn't we discuss last time or a couple of months back talking about the amendment of the fences, that if you went back from 2 feet from your property line, you could go up 1 foot of fence? So for every 2 feet that you go back, you go up 1 without needing a variance?
No, we never discussed that.
I don't recall.
Recall that.
No?
Where is that used? Is that used in some other city?
That's used in some other cities,
Yeah,
yes.
no, we never discussed that.
No, that's
Yeah.
news to me.
So-
I never
so-
heard of that.
On the side facing 11th Street, where he wants to do
The decorative fence.
the fence, which he now said is not decorative, it's
It's masonry, whether it's a precast or,
Okay. So how far would he have to set that back in order to be 6 feet? He would have to meet the setback of the house?
he would have to be from where the chain link is shown on the survey at the back of the house.
Oh, all the way back there?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay.
That's the only place where 6 feet is allowed.
But he could instead move that fence that he wants to build 2 feet back. I keep referring to 2 feet, but it could be 3 feet, 1 foot, whatever. Build it at 5 feet and put a 6-foot high hedge if this.
If he wanted the hedge in front of the fence, if he
If-
he could put it
okay.
behind the fence, it's up to him.
But that hedge could go up to 6 feet.
If the
If the
ordinance
resolution
change goes through,
passes.
yes.
Okay. Okay. So that's one solution for having a little bit higher on both sides.
Okay, Mr. Penna, also, we can stipulate that the Clusha hedge, although the applicant said he would do it, we can make it a requirement to
Correct.
extend it, to allow more privacy for Mr. Machado.
Since he already offered, of
Or
course.
Clusha or some other type
Clusha,
of,
I'll go with
any shrub hedge material.
Right. I'll give him my number. If I'm ever loud, he will call me and tell me that I'm being too loud.
Okay,
I don't have a problem with that.
any further
So
comments?
on the back steps, from your house back to to
Yeah.
where the pool is going to be, is there any possibility of moving those steps closer to the house so that you can pull the pool a little bit closer, shift everything a little bit closer to the house instead of 5 feet, maybe you have 7.5 feet or?
Right. I actually wanted to do that. Once I bought the house, I had to redo them already because for some reason the house was built the front and the back ones with like bathroom tiles. I had 2 accesses in my home that people slipped. So I literally just already spent money rebuilding both those 2. Like literally I had to pay for medical fees, and I didn't want to make an issue. But that house was approved, or those things were approved. I don't know if they was approved or they just did it without a permit, but it looked like everything was with a permit. They made tiles that are bathroom tiles. 2 guests at my house broke and like cut. One of them had to take it to the hospital to get like stitches
Jeez.
because it was tiles that are in the wet.
Slippery.
So I had to pay money already to build those, to rebuild the whole thing. I actually wanted to because I think it's too big. But again, I feel that considering what just happened, to redo that too, it's another cost, And again, I don't want to. I want to be objective here and be realistic. I don't want to do anything with my neighbor being pissed at me. I want to have a good relationship. So maybe I would have to figure out a way to move it. But if we're being realistic, okay, I'll move it. I'll try to make it 10 feet, and I'll make my pool. Whatever, 8 feet width, but is that really going to change the audio? If he's an issue with an audio, he come, hey, don't be loud. I've never had an issue with him in terms of audio, or anything. But I'm never an issue. I'm not having parties. I'm 42. I'm not 25 anymore, and I have a kid. So my point is, I feel if we're being objective about this, his thing about the noise is going to be too much because there's 5 feet difference. I'm a kind of an engineer. That makes no sense. That's not going to be a difference. That's being realistic. Water splashing into his home, I'm going to have those big hedges. That's never going to happen. About the tree, I think it's a little. That's my airspace, and I was going to cut it anyways because I don't want to have shade, and I don't want to have things dropping. But I'm not thinking I'm affecting his tree. And we had talked about this before. He said, "Just
Okay.
leave."
Excuse me.
I think we're getting a little.
Okay. Yeah, it's like a people's court.
Yeah.
I got a question. His house is to your west, right?
East.
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 Yeah. I'm at the corner. Yeah, on the corner of 65th.
That's right. Yeah, now I noticed the arrow.
Right.
Because I got an issue with my neighbor, a mango tree. his house is to the east.
Right.
And when the wind blows, even though I cut the tree right to my property line, my pool gets full of mango leaves, completely. So that will affect him, not you. Because the wind is most of the times from the east.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
90% of the time.
I'm not
I can tell
requesting.
you. My pool man can tell you.
Yeah, I'm not requesting to remove his tree. I'm just requesting for my airspace to be like not be falling with. Which again, I had talked to him about, and he said it was okay. For another situation, before I decided to build a pool, I had like a little table to have lunch or whatever, and that was happening. And the leaves were an issue. Like the leaves are all over. It's like that tree drops the leaves a lot. So I was very nice, and I asked him, "Hey, can I cut it?" And he said, "No problem." So I figured it was the same situation with the pool. I was gonna bring someone. I actually had to cut a little bit because I had to run the power lines, which I already did for
To
the pool,
bury 'em.
underground, and they had to cut them. FPO came and cut because they were just all entangled with my power lines. I mean, that's
Okay.
how big it was. So like I already had to make a cut. The other cut would be to go higher, so I don't have the. That's the.
Okay, any further comments or motions from the board? I think you have to close it. Did you close it? And I'm not sure if I did close the public hearing, did?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thought I did. Any comments, motions?
I make a motion to approve based on staff's recommendation.
Okay, there was a motion. Okay, there was a motion,
I second that.
and it was second, based on staff recommendation, which also includes the fence height as well. Okay, on the motion, Eugenio Gonzalez?
Yes?
Gilberto Gonzalez?
Yes.
Diana Rio?
Yes.
Alvaro Laredo?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so it's been approved with the recommendations that the city staff made.
Let me talk to him so he doesn't get mad.
To include continuing a hedge
course, yeah,
to allow more privacy to Mr. Machado, your neighbor.
Right. Of course. I mean, I'm going to try to, I don't know, make him, maybe I don't know.
Pools are an attractive nuisance. They're great to have, and yes, people can have a party, but you can
I
have
do
a
it
party
for-
without
I'm-
a pool anyway.
I'm doing it for my 6-year-old. She loves the pool. I need to get her a pool. That's what I'm doing it for.
And she's a good swimmer already.
I need to teach her, but that's I need
Do
to
so
have the
before
pool.
you build the pool.
If not, we'll have floaties.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Have a great
Okay,
night.
thank you, sir. Okay.
Going back to the order of the agenda, regarding the review of the ordinances, the city commission remanded. Mr. Villalobos has prepared ordinance 2022 dash whatever number the city clerk will assign it, which speaks to the requirements of the fences, the type of fences. And Mr. Villalobos added the permitted fences will be all fences herein shall be constructed of materials allowed and approved by Miami-Dade County product approval or the state of Florida product approval, and is having met wind loads for hurricane force winds when installed properly. That's the one section that's being inserted, and then also, if you go towards the back, it's highlighted in yellow. The section of hedges and height, and that is the, what was discussed regarding the 5 feet in the front and the 8 feet in the rear.
What I did was, I underlined the added sections and stricken the whatever sections would be, or areas that would be eliminated. I don't think I eliminated anything, right?
No.
In other words, the ordinance is the same as it was before, except whatever is underlined is the new, what I added to the new ordinance.
So right now it's 4 feet, now we're increasing it to 5 according to this, right?
In the hedges,
In the hedges.
yes.
And in the back, you go to 8, no?
Correct.
By the way, this is not my doing, this is at the request of one of the commissioners.
Correct.
May I, Mr. Chairman? I think
Yes,
in one
sir.
of the previous meeting, we went over the Miami-Dade County requirements, that we all agree on that, on those, so verbally, I guess, we didn't vote on it.
Correct.
So the only thing we're doing is increasing the size of the hedges in the front, if I see it,
And allowing the,
And allowing.
the different materials that are allowed
Right,
today.
That are allowed.
that are allowed by Miami-Dade.
Correct.
Oh, that's right, well, I have no problem with that then.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve.
And I second one?
Okay, on the motion, Eugenio Gonzalez?
Yes.
Alberto Lorido?
Yes.
Jumping to Anna Rio?
Yes.
Gilbert.
Gilberto Gonzalez?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Sorry to skip there.
And that is the last item on your docket this evening.
Okay, the City of West Miami Planning and Zoning Board meeting of January 25th, 2022 is now adjourned. It is 8:24 PM for the record.